Chonky Stitches podcast for episode number 4. My name is Jen and I live here in the northeast of England. This is my little corner of the internet where I chat about all of the crafty things I get up to, mostly crochet. And yes, if you are a returning viewer, then thank you very much for your ongoing support. But if you are a new viewer, then welcome to the channel. It's great to have you here. You can find me on Instagram as ChonkyStitches_ or on Ravelry or Facebook as just Chonky Stitches. You can find me on Etsy where I sell some of my little handmade goodies as Chonky Stitches, and also on my website, which is chonkystitches.co.uk. I will leave the link for all of those below. And you can also now find me on my second YouTube channel, which I share with my partner Jack, who is Slip Ginge, for those of you who don't know, and that is the name of his podcast channel and Instagram channels. I will leave his links below, as well as the link to our joint channel, which is where we post vlogs of our adventures, both crafty and otherwise. We have only posted one episode so far where we had a little adventure to Glasgow and went to a yarn shop. But yes, if you'd like to check that out, then please do. The links are below. And it'd be lovely to see some of you over there. So I hope you are all keeping well. I have been busy as always since the last podcast. I finished my little run of craft fairs, my autumn run. The last one I did was the Made Up North Fair. It was their autumn market, which was at the Boiler Shop in Newcastle, and it was absolutely brilliant. There was just a great atmosphere, so many good sellers, really well organised, and from a business perspective it was great as well. It was so busy and I did really well. You can tell that autumn is here, I think, because there were certain items which obviously did not sell in the summer, like my hats and scarves and ear warmers, and they were flying out at these craft fairs, so I'm so chuffed with how they went. And yes, it was really nice to see some of you there and to meet some more lovely crafters. Other than the craft fairs, I've just been busy with work. I've been on some lovely days out with Jack, which you will have seen some clips of at the start of the podcast. We went for a day out to Corbridge last week, which was lovely. I've been before. Corbridge is a little town in Northumberland, for those of you who don't know, and it's really easy for us to get to from where we live. And yes, it just has lots of lovely gift shops and a couple of bakeries and cafes and pubs, and it is quite a small place but really lovely, and there are lots of lovely trees and old buildings, and I thought that would look really nice now that the autumn leaves are starting to show, so I thought it would be a lovely time to take Jack, and we had a lovely day. We did a bit of early gift shopping for Christmas too, but I say early, I don't know if it is really that early considering, you know, it's only a few months away now, and I do like to be quite organised, so lots of Christmas cards were bought. Sadly though, I did have some fairly bad news just about a week or so ago where I lost my little hamster, Heidi. She was about a year and a half old, which is pretty good for a hamster. It's pretty good life, but of course it's quite sad. So, but yes, on some slightly cheery news, one other thing to mention that I've been up to is I filmed a music video a couple of weeks ago. It was for my good friend, or close family friend, Jack Milcreast, who is a brilliant musician, and we filmed a music video in a barn because, for those of you who don't know, I'm also a musician and I play piano, viola and violin, and Jack wanted some violin on the track, so I got to go and do that. It was a pretty interesting experience filming in a barn. It was a great setup. The only thing to complain about is that it was freezing, but we had a really good time, and the music video has gone live now, so I will leave the link for that below in case anybody wants to watch me playing violin in a barn. It came out so well, so yes, please do check it out if you are interested at all. So yes, as usual, I think it's time now for me to stop rambling and to get on to some crafty goodness. I don't expect this is going to be a particularly long podcast. I have some things to show. I have a finished object, I of course have more acquisitions, and I have a bit of progress on some whips, including some projects I've mentioned as plans in previous podcasts that are starting to get worked on. So there is a little bit to show, but I just thought it had been a few weeks and I wanted to hop on and show you what I've been getting up to. The main thing to show today is my finished object, which is my blanket. I'm sorry if you're all getting a little bit bored of me just showing the same project each week, but it's done. It is done, so no more mentioning it. It is finished. I think in my last podcast, where was I up to? I had gotten up to the pink stripe, I believe, and I said I had 2 more skeins left and I wasn't sure if I was going to use both of them, and in the end I did. I just thought, that's what it's for the blanket. No, I'm chuffed with the size. Stop it. So, it's finished. Ends are sewn in. It has not yet been blocked. I would like to block it. So those are the end colours that you hadn't seen yet. It is obviously quite difficult to show the whole thing here on camera, but I will hopefully post a photo over this so that you can see it fully. I haven't yet posted it on any social media, but I shall soon. And yes, it is everything that I hoped it would be. It is super warm, super snuggly, and it was a joy to make. The yarn, as another reminder, is the Studio Donegal Soft Donegal worsted weight, 100% wool. Lovely goodness that this is. Let's give you a little close-up of my last few stripes. Also, I apologise if the lighting in here is a bit strange. If you can't tell, I'm trying a different setup each week, and I'm trying this from upstairs, and it is quite sunny. This is, yeah. So, hopefully it doesn't matter too much. But yes, this is my finished object, and I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy. I've already started using it. It is more of a single person blanket, I would say, because of the width. Probably about a single bed size. I don't have a single bed, so I haven't tested that. But I have been using it while I watched The Hobbit at the weekend, and while I've been watching telly on a night or doing other crochet projects. It is very cold up here in the north, and this is just exactly what I need to get myself through the winter. So yes, that is my finished object, and that is all I have to show for that section of the podcast. But it's a pretty good finished object. A lot of stitches and a lot of hard work went into this. So yes, in that case, on to whips. My main whip I've been working on is my DK Granny Square blanket. I have talked in quite a few of the past podcasts about my plans to begin a DK Granny Square blanket, and I have started. I also believe I confessed in my last podcast that I have never made a granny square before. So I watched a couple of YouTube videos and things, and yeah, they're quite straightforward, aren't they? So I made my first granny square, and I've made quite a few now. So here's the first one I made. Oh gosh, I hope this lighting's okay. Oh, that's probably better from there, isn't it? So yes, this was the first one I made. This was using the Lamington Lass yarn that I've shown in a couple of previous podcasts, which is this gorgeous green skein, which Jack bought for me quite a while ago. Absolutely gorgeous. So yes, I've made a few with this yarn. I've made 3. And then the second lot I went into was with the Back to Blighty yarn that I showed you in another podcast, which is this one. That is the yarn itself, and this is how it looks as a granny square. I've made 4 of these. I adore these colours. I think they look beautiful. It's a superwash merino, I think. It's a merino nylon. Not too sure anymore. But I really, really like how that looks as well. I think although they're very different colours, they're going together pretty well. The next one I've been making was with the Cheshire Yarns one of a kind yarn I showed you from my haul there in the last podcast, and made a few of those as well. And then the yarn side skein that Jack got me recently, which is these gorgeous autumnal greens and brown shades. I showed you in the last podcast as well, and I've started making those. So yes, quite a few squares have been made so far, but there are obviously many more to go, because this is going to hopefully be a very big blanket. And yes, of course, I'm planning on doing it as a sort of checkerboard patchworky thing with some white squares in between. So these are the white squares. It's a sort of off-white, and it is Drops Charisma, which I got at the Yarn Cake in Glasgow a few weeks ago. Drops Charisma, which obviously is a DK weight, 100% wool, and do we have a shade name? Colour 01. So there you go. That is how that's coming along. We've got quite a lot of squares, obviously, for a few weeks or whatever it is. Well, I've dropped one now. But yes, and funnily, these yarns are living in a rather interesting project bag. A few years ago for Christmas, I was gifted some PJs, and they were some of the Boo Avenue PJs in a bag PJs, and this is the bag, and it's a lovely little blue woodland print, and there's the PJs in a bag label, and I've kept it all these years thinking I'll use that for something, and I had no idea what, and now that I'm crafting, perfect little project bag. At the minute it's the perfect size for my squares. So that is that work in progress. The other work in progress that I have begun making is my ugly granny square blanket, my scrappy blanket, which I chatted about last time. I explained that me and Jack had been making some magic knot balls with all of my tiny little scraps, and I've started making the blanket. The scraps are all DK upwards, whatever length I had, anything that wasn't big enough to make one of my little squiddies basically, and this is how it is looking. Is that good side, bad side? Does it make a difference? No. I hope you can see that. Yeah, I mean, do I need to say much? It's pretty hideous. But it's the sort of hideous that is just, it just gives off such a cosy, homely vibe, and I adore it so much. I put it onto my rocking chair. I've got a rocking chair in the corner of my bedroom, and I put it on there the other day and just thought this is where it belongs. It's perfect. So that's how that's coming along. I really like it. I really like it. It's so ugly, but I love it. So yes, that's been another mindless project to be getting on with, and I've been really enjoying it. So that's pretty much the whip front. They're both things I've mentioned as plans in previous podcasts, so it's good to see that I am not just making plans and then not going through with them. They are making really good progress. Black coffee, as always. So I think in that case we should talk acquisitions and plans. I will start with acquisitions. As you can tell, this is a very organised podcast this week. I've got a bit of a pyramid of yarn here to show. And shall we start with the yarn on the bottom? That seems so logical. Right. Oh, the pyramid is collapsing. That's okay. Right. So to start, this is the section where Jen tries to justify her yarn buying, as I do every time I make a podcast. The first skein is from the Fibre Company. I bought this because I needed some stuffing, and so I was ordering that from Lovecraft, and I got 2 bags just to fill out the order as well, and because I know I'll use it. I needed that for shop items, and I just thought, I think if you spend so much you get free delivery, and I was like, I might as well make up the order, you know, to get to that point. So I didn't get much, but I got a few skeins. And the first of these is, and I think these were on offer, is the Fibre Company Luma yarn, which is this beautiful purple. You'll have heard me mention, if you've watched my podcast before, that purple is my favourite colour, purple and green. So this shade I was very pleased when I found, and it is labelled as a lofty blend of organic cotton, linen, merino wool and silk. And yes, it is as soft as it sounds. It is very nice. 100 grams of the colour Sangria. Oh, there we go. Made in Peru. So 50% wool, 25% cotton, 15% linen and 10% silk. Oh, it's a 50 gram skein. There you go. Lying to you, as usual. And it is a DK weight. So I got 2 skeins of this. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I am thinking potentially, I know it's a lot more than I need, but I'm thinking potentially some mittens or something would be really nice, or something like that. Not sure, but it's lovely and soft, and it is such a me shade. So that is acquisition 1. And in that same order, which obviously there was the stuffing, I also got another skein from the Fibre Company, and this one is called the Cumbria yarn, which is a lustrous blend of Masham wool, merino and mohair. Sounds nice, doesn't it? This was also on offer, and it is 90% wool and 10% mohair in the colour Buttermere, and I just think it's a really nice colour. It's somewhere between sort of yellow and green, but it just looks and feels so sheepy. It's got a good smell to it. So I did just get the 1 skein of that. It's at 100 gram skein, so yeah, again, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really sure what I want to do with it, but I just have such a weakness for a yarn sale. And I just wanted to make the order up to get the free delivery, even though I obviously spent more than I would have if I'd just got the stuffing and paid for delivery. Just trying to justify myself. So that is acquisition 2. I mean, if you have any suggestions of what to use it for, do feel free to let me know. It's a worsted weight, by the way, in case you, yeah. Right, so my other acquisitions, because there can't just be that many, there never can. So yes, my other acquisitions. I finally caved and bought from a online yarn shop, which I'd heard about loads of times, and I checked them out loads of times, and I had a look at the yarns and I had a look at the prices, and actually I found that this was quite an affordable hand-dyed brand, because realistically 100 gram skeins from hand-dyed shops tend to be, I don't know, an average of £18–20, which is, you know, quite a lot for a skein, but I totally understand why. It's, you know, but some of the prices here were a bit lower and just a bit more affordable, and obviously I'm trying to build up nice skeins for my DK blanket and my fingering weight blanket I've got planned, and I got some. So this is the brand Hedgerow Yarns, which I'm sure loads of you have heard of, and yeah, I had planned on doing like an unboxing of this when it arrived, because it came wrapped so beautifully. Have I got any of the wrapping? It came in this lovely tissue paper with, you know, bits of straw and raffia bows. It came with a little tea, and a lovely thank you card with the cutest picture on it. There you go. Oh, I just think that's so sweet. And when I saw them wrapped like that, I was thinking, oh, I should definitely film this. But I was just too impatient. I was just too impatient. So I'm sorry I didn't do that, but what can you say? So this is the DK skein I've got, which there's a hair on. It is this brilliant pink, peachy, colourful burst of yarn. Loads of colourful speckles in there. Yeah, I really, really like that. I think it's lovely. The label is really nice. I just think their branding and their style is lovely. And yes, hand-dyed and hand-painted yarn, DK weight. It is 100% superwash merino, and colourway wise it just says one of a kind. So yes, quite affordable and just absolutely lovely still. It's 100 grams and the colours are brilliant, and that's going to be going into the blanket. So as I've also said, I am planning on a fingering weight blanket just because I do actually have a few skeins of that, but obviously not enough for a blanket. So I got a set of minis from Hedgerow Yarns too. Fingering weight, and oh, they're just brilliant. I've never actually had any minis before, I'm not gonna lie. So they're called skinny minis. They are 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and they are little 20-gram skeins, and yes, quite a few nice colours in there. Hand painted goodness. So yes, that's for that blanket, which I haven't started yet, but it's in the works in terms of planning. And by planning I mean me buying yarn. So that was the other acquisition from there, and then the last thing I got from Hedgerow Yarns was an Aran weight skein, which was just, it was just me. Just so me, and obviously heavier weights I'm just too weak for. So this Aran weight skein, it's just, it's moody, and you've got purples and greens in there, my favourite colours. So again, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure exactly what this is gonna be, but it will be something for me. I only got 2 skeins, so I'm not sure that's obviously enough for like a jumper or anything, but oh yes, that's nice. That is very nice. It's labelled as one of a kind, superwash merino weight, 100 grams each. That is a very happy gem. That is really nice. Really, really nice. So yes, that is my little shop from Hedgerow Yarns, and I'm really happy with all of that. Couldn't recommend them enough. Let's top up. Right, so on to the very last one, which is just one skein, which I bought from Beehive Yarns, and I've had these recommended to me, and I've heard I've heard them recommended, and I've heard that they're just brilliant, and I had a look and I just couldn't resist. I can't even remember if it was on offer or if this was just me. I did get 1 or 2 other bits, but I can't talk about them. And yes, this is what I got. This is for the DK blanket, I think. How amazing is that? Yeah, don't even know what to say. Just so beautiful. And I don't have any colours like that in the DK blanket so far, so I think that'll be a nice contrast. So yes, Beehive Yarns, this is the colourway Tapestry, and it is 100% extra fine superwash merino, DK of course. 115 grams apparently, and really amazing. Really cool. So sorry, my camera cut out there, it cut me off at a certain point of filming. Yes, so that is my beehive yarn skein, and I love it so much. Part of the reason I think I wanted to film the podcast now is that I was just desperate to roll this up and start using it, but thought no, I should show it on here first. So I've done that now and I can start making with it. So that is my acquisitions. And I said I was going to talk just a little bit about plans because I have some other ideas of things I want to make at the minute. So yes, one of the things I'm planning on doing hopefully soon is using some yarn that I was gifted for my birthday from Becky from Back to Blighty, and that is my Malabrigo Rasta yarn. I mean, she knows me well. You don't get much chunkier than that, put it that way, and those two colours are just lovely as well, and it's really soft. So Malabrigo Rasta is super chunky. It is in the colour Pagoda and Sherry, and yes, so I really want to use these because I think they're lovely and I think they're going to make a really nice wintry hat for me. I have seen so many people using Malabrigo Rasta to make knitted hats, so there are lots of patterns for knitted hats with this yarn, but very little in terms of crochet. So I did some digging on Ravelry, of course, and I found one or two patterns that I am interested in trying. One of them is the Northbound Beanie by Justine Wally. I've got a picture here. I obviously can't show you the pattern because that's paid for, but it is just a simple ribbed beanie really with this yarn. So that is a potential plan for the yarn, or if I want to be a bit more interesting, sorry that sounded like such an insult, not what I meant, but another possible pattern for this is the Freda Lush beanie, which is by Kendra Kokesh. I'm so sorry if that's pronounced wrong, but I can show you a picture there. Obviously it's quite hard to see, it's a small picture, but that looks like a really nice pattern. It's sort of got a horizontal rib bottom, and then it's got some puff stitches going on and some braids in between, and I think it looks really cool and it looks like it would be nice to try, and one of the recommended yarns is the Malabrigo Rasta, so that is a potential plan for these and something I'm probably going to try quite soon. The last thing I'm thinking of starting quite soon is with a yarn that Jack dyed for me for Christmas, for the Christmas just gone, well, months ago, but last Christmas anyway. Yes, he dyed me some yarn, which was of course just so sweet. It is this beautiful DK yarn. Is that focusing? There we go. And it is really, really lovely. I think it's a bit darker in person, I'd say, but my favourite colours, and that's why I use them. There is a label somewhere. Yes, so it's on a Back to Blighty label because of course his mum is Becky. So this yarn is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, in a DK weight, one of kind colourway of course, because yes, and it says specially dyed for Jen from Jack. And I'm just desperate to use it. It was, you know, gifted to me at Christmas, and I think part of the reason I've put off using it is because it was dyed just for me, and I don't want to make the wrong thing. I'm determined to find the perfect pattern for it before I start. So I'm on the hunt now. I've found a few cowl patterns which I am considering. I'm thinking potentially a cowl and mitt set. I had thought about making a beanie, which is still on the cards. So yeah, those are my ideas, either a cowl beanie or some mitts or a set, because I've got two skeins, so really I could probably do that. So if you've got any ideas, please do feel free to recommend them. I would love to hear. So yes, I think that's all that I wanted to talk about this time. There wasn't loads to show. I suppose I've been taking a little bit of a break and taking it easy after all the craft fair making. I am starting to work on Christmas things for the shop as well, so that's obviously taking up some time, and I'm sure I'll share some of those makes with you at some point, but not quite yet. Yeah, I'll wait till there's a bit more progress there. But yeah, thank you for joining me and having some time with me. I've really enjoyed popping on again. I hopefully will see you again soon. Take care.